What's up?
I know it's like
Yeah, it's really just making sure if it's positive or negative. This is above sea level. Positive. Yeah, oh yeah.
No, she hasn't.
All right, guys. I'm gonna look at some of these up here on the board. So for all of 1 through 8, they said that x is 2, y is 3, and z is 4. So they're being really nice. There's no negatives in there. I'll give you some negatives when I give you a quiz. Oh, sorry. 2. I just got to. It's the code of the math teacher.
There's always a chance.
So, very quickly, x is 2, z is 4. There is no y in this problem, so I don't have to worry about that one. So 4 times 2 minus 2 times 4. That one's nice. 8 minus 8, 0. Four's got x squared minus y. X is 2. 2 squared. Y is 3. 2 squared is 4 minus 3, 1. Sweet. Gotcha. Be careful about z's and 2's. And please, do yourself this favor. Maintain every symbol as it is. As you do this, 2 squared is 4. Everything else stays the same. It's not a very long problem, but hopefully you understand what I mean. Maintain everything else exactly as it is and rewrite one piece of it. Then rewrite one piece of it. Everything else stays the same. Do not try to do little parts and then put them all back together. You're going to forget what was minus and what was whatever. Trust me. They throw some fractions at us. I like it. So 2 times y plus x over 4. How do you do that problem there? Good. You want to work on the top and you want to work on the bottom. The very last thing I do in that kind of problem is the division. So 2 times 3, 6. 6 plus 2, 8 divided by 4, 2. Cool.
Can you do 2 over 1?
Oh, sure you could, but that is not really all the way down because the over 1 we normally don't show that. So like in general, 2 is really 2 over 1 to the first power. I mean, there's with a 1 in front. I mean, holy shit. So all those 1s, just to be very direct, all those 1s are understood to be there. So there's no real reason to put them there. If you do, I'm not going to count you wrong. Okay. Piece of shit. 8, 2x. This is the one that I think gave us the most trouble. 2 and x is 2. 3 times 3 plus 4. There's my 3's again. Come on. So I want to completely finish what piece of this before I start doing anything else. Inside here, exactly. I got to completely get that done because that's what the first thing in order of operations is. So I got 2 times 2. 9 plus 4 is inside. 3 times 3 is 9. I got to do multiply before add. And I'm not done in there yet. 9 plus 4, 13. Now I can just do the multiplication. 2 times 2 is 4. Times 13. 52. There's that cards again. That's interesting. 4 suits, 13 cards each, 52 cards total. I just got it in my head. I don't play cards a lot, by the way. I don't have that much money to lose, so that's all right. What about 7 decreased by a number? 7 minus x. The only time you got to worry about changing the order is when it's less than. Real quick though, little side note. How would you read that? 7 is less than x. Okay, this is where you start to realize the little math is a lot like English. The grammar matters here. This is x less than 7, right? This is 7 is less than x, is less than. So don't start putting inequality symbols when they just say less than. That should be a subtract. You with me?
Yeah.
Okay. So if I said 8 is less than a number. Okay. 8 is less than a number. Yeah, 8 is less than a number. You with me? So that's that. It is less than. That's the inequality. Less than means subtract. And this is where some people go, oh, but you have to be that way to make sure you can just differentiate between what you mean. 12, 18 less than the product of 4 and a number. So 18 less than something.
4x.
And the something is a product of 4 and a number, so that's 4x. And then 18 less than that. Exactly. So when you see the words less than, if I said 7 less than, I don't care what else I'm going to say. I know I can write that down and put the other shit there. 7 less than something. Right? All right, now I'm going a little. Curse word. Here's no 14. 16. Is 4 solution? I love the formatting here, kind of sucks, but it's trying to say 3x minus 8 equals 8. That 3 goes with the x, you see? Is 4 a solution to that? So how do you check that?
Replace the x with the 4.
Cool. So if you put 3 times 4 minus 8, put a little question mark there because we don't know yet. 3 times 4
12.
minus 8. 4 equals 8? No, not solution. Not a solution. All right, how are we doing so far? Okay. (18) Same idea. 5 a solution to this. Believe it or not, this would be a good one to just step back and look at it. If is 5 a solution, then everything here is positive. How could it come back to 5? So I kind of go into this knowing there ain't no damn way. Well, let's just go through the motions. If I throw a 5 in there, see that's what I was talking about. How in the world could all that ever equal 5? Sure enough, you get 35 and 40. So 75 does not equal 5, not a solution. Yes, sir.
Unless the 7 or 5 is a negative.
Yeah, that's what's missing. You need some negative over here to bring it down to 5. So it's a good point. It's not positive 5. If it was negative 5, that would be good, right? Then it would be negative 35 plus 40. That would give you the 5. I love it. Cool. One last one here. And this is sort of like the one you were asking me about earlier, where they give you a series of possibilities. So the nice thing here is, technically, if you do this and you find one that works, you can stop. Like I said earlier, right? There's only one answer. So if 4 works, why would you check 8? Right? In fact, 4 does work. So if you try 3 first, you get 6 plus 3, you get 9. Does not equal 11. No. Then you try 4, and that's where you get your 8 plus 3. Check. 8. No, check. 4 is the solution. You guys with me on that? Yes.
If in the homework, like we do it to where we keep the variable and we subtract and then divide on the other side to find x.
So you're not being
in the homework. Do we have to plug in?
You do.
Okay.
Exactly. You're not being asked to solve it. You're being asked to check to see if something is a solution. So you could argue, well, if I solve it, I can look at it. But what I need you just to get at this point to do it with this plug and chug idea. Yeah. Later, we'll be doing solving equations directly. Yeah. All right, cool. So any questions from those?
Do you want us to write out that statement, or can we just leave it at the answer?
Oh, you can even just circle that bad boy right there. Yeah, I just wanted to make it more of a point there. But you can just circle the one that's the right answer, if any of them work. Okay. So I do want to get a little bit into chapter 2, if there's no other questions from chapter 1. Before I get too far ahead of myself, we will have a quiz. Let me double check something real quick before I forget. I got you all hanging on the edge of your seat. When the hell is this quiz?
Right now.
Right now. Take some paper out. Yeah, let's do this. Let's do quiz up to 1.7. Quiz on up to 1.7, yes?
It's on chapter 1 point.
Thursday. This Thursday. Say again, sir.
It was on one of the work questions. It's just like basically, like you have like 25 in parentheses, and then 9 in parentheses, and then 9 in parentheses. Does it matter which way you do it first?
Yeah, that's a good point. If I do 2 times 3 times 5.
They're all in parentheses though.
In fact, let me make this even worse. If I had 2 times 18 times 5, I would do 2 times 5 first because that's 10. And multiply by 10 is easy, right? You can multiply or add whatever the hell order you want to. You with me?
Yep.
Cool. Still going to be the same. The one thing I don't want to see is 2 times 18 is 36, 2 times 5 is 10. What mistake did I just make?
You multiply times twice.
How many 2's do I have? So how did they each get a 2 if there's only one to go around? So be real careful about that. Okay. So this should be 2 times 5 is 10 times 18 is 180. Cool. All right. What was I going to do? Everybody got that right? Quiz this Thursday. Next class. Up to 1.7. So I'm not going to have 1.8 on there. The stuff we talked about today will not be on there. Just up to 1.7.
Will there be a lecture?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I don't make quizzes that take up the whole time. Yeah. All right, so now that we're out of chapter 1 was sort of a review, and that's why it did go a little quick. It had a lot of ideas in it. So now it's going to kind of slow a lot down and focus on topics one at a time. And this is something we've already kind of talked about in chapter 1. Guys. Guys. Good. Integers. And you have, what are integers? Or let me say it this way. So let me give you an example of an integer. 1, I like it. That's good.
Yeah, -1.
-1, I love it. So somebody give me a number that's not an integer. 0 is. So what is not an integer? X could be, I don't know. 0.5, I love it. Any fraction, right? Integers are whole numbers with negatives also. Right? So whole numbers are like 0, 1, 2, 3. Throw the negatives in there, that's integers. So really this section is about, they get very specific about this, and most of this should be pretty simple. Finding numbers on a number line, integers, stuff like that. One little thing is how to translate. If I said, the Badlands, I think is it, near Death Valley. Has everybody ever been out to like the Salt? And you got so many, it's 288 feet below sea level, I think. It's like the lowest point. And I went on this trip, one day I was there, the next day I was 8,000 feet up in Glacier Park throwing snowballs, so it was kind of neat. But the Badlands are 288 feet below sea level. Or at least, one piece of it is. How do I write that as an integer? And don't say, well, you already did, Jeff, there it is. Because what's the key part about this? Below sea level. So what would the integer be for this?
-2.
Exactly. So don't overthink it. It's just below, so it's got to be negative. So it's sort of like if I said it's 10 below 0. You wouldn't say it's 10 degrees. You'd say it's -10. That's what 10 below 0 means, right? So another example would be 10 below 0. You write that as -10 degrees. Cool. Okay, how we do? Because you all know 0 degrees is not the absence of heat. You can get colder, as some of us might know all too well. So there's going to be a whole section of this homework where they give you kind of a little paragraph. They have a number in there. You just have to interpret, do I leave it alone, leave it as positive? Like if I said we're 500 feet above sea level, what is that as an integer? 500. It's positive. We're above sea level. So it's positive 500. So a lot of these, you're just going to write the number down again. But you got to be careful. Is it below? Is it decreased? Like if I say the stock fell by 27%. Yeah, -27%. Fell by 27%. Or like my famous example, I owe somebody $8. -8. Right? Yes, sir.
I was reading yesterday, and how do you answer this, like, game?
Ah, gotcha. So we got a football example. I gained 11 yards on a play.
Yeah.
Would that be, really the question comes down to, is it positive or negative? Since I gained 11 yards, it's positive, so you just write 11. If I was sacked for a loss of 40 yards, I'm screaming. That would be what I would do, by the way, if I was in one of these games. I was sacked for a loss of 40 yards. Coach is like, why the hell did I put him in there? How do you write that as an integer? -40, because it's a loss. So below, a loss of, went down by, those are negatives. Cool? So it would be -40 yards.
So why wouldn't D, the one above it, be plus 11? Wouldn't you put a plus? Because
Well,
you're gaining from something, but you don't know what it is.
The
'cause it's
plus is sort of like having a 1. You could write 1 here, but it's understood to be there, right? The only thing I have to indicate is if it's negative. If I don't have a negative sign, then it is positive. So don't do that, actually. Because then you might think that, oh, what did I leave out? Maybe there's a 7 there, now it's 18. No.
Well,
So-
you are leaving some out because it's not determined.
Okay.
No, this
You're just
is
gaining.
determined. I want to make sure that you understand. This is definitely positive 11. There's no question. How do I know it's not something else? Because there is no negative sign. In the absence of a negative sign, it's known to be positive. Let's all agree on this.
On top of whatever yardage you already have, like you was on the football field, they kicked off, boom, you ran 5 yards, okay, that you on the 5-yard line, then that 11 would be an additional to the 5.
So if I said his total yardage for the day, he ran for -8 yards. Okay, he sucked, right? If I said he ran for 20 yards, are you going to say, is there a plus sign in front of it? No, you're gonna know that it was a positive 20 because I didn't say it was negative, I didn't say it was a loss. So if I said he ran for negative 8 yards, there's no question that's negative. If I say he ran for 11 yards, there's no question that that's
It's just,
positive.
it's a play on words because you're gaining 11 from wherever you're at, but you don't know where he's at.
Doesn't matter where
What
he's
I'm
at.
saying is, he's adding, so he's plusing 11, because he could be on the 3, you don't know.
Oh, I see.
So
That's
you're
if-
adding, you're
I'm
plus
with you.
11.
I'm with you. That would be a problem where I say he starts at the 12-yard line and he gains 11 yards. Let's say they're going away from the goal. So now where is he?
Like in football, okay, he gained 10 yards, well, that's great, but where did he start from? So,
So you don't add that in, do you?
But let me ask you. All right.
or why would you show?
The only time,
anything else?
all right, maybe football's a bad example.
Yeah.
Because you're getting a little too wrapped up. There's two totally separate ideas. Where did he end up? That's a math problem involving tell me how far he ran and where he started. Then there's the question of how many yards did he gain, period. That's a more basic question, right? To set up the equation of where he ended up, I have to know how much he gained. So by itself, he gained 11 yards. By itself, that's done. Now if I say, well, where did he end up? And then you tell me, oh, he was at the 10-yard line, you might have ended up at the 21-yard line. He's running in that direction. You with me?
I'll just remember, if it's a negative, put the negative sign.
Good.
Other than that, don't worry about it.
Good.
I'm just
So
saying.
you're thinking ahead to when it wants to become a plus equate, like a plus simplifying problem, like 7 plus 11.
Totally.
I'm just talking about purely how many yards did somebody gain. Was it negative, meaning they actually didn't gain, they lost? Or was it not negative, meaning it must be positive? Yeah.
Isn't it just as long as nothing else is given with it, that, cause like, I feel like they're talking about if something else is given with it.
Yes,
they're
exactly.
confused about.
Because you could take that number 11 and you could put it into a problem and say, where did he end up? Then you need to know where did he start.
Yeah.
This is purely how many yards on that play did we gain? Do I care then, if I ask the question, do I care where we are? No. Right? So you say, we gained 11 yards in that play. Oh, sounds good. Unless it's 3rd and 50. All right, so I gotta remember, stay away from sports examples. So if my company, the profit for my company went down, so my company's value went down by or decreased by $4,000, how would you represent that? Negative $4,000. If I said the value of my company increased by $8,000,
$4,000.
oh, sorry, I said 8,000, I'm sorry. So if my company's value increased by 8,000, it's just 8,000. Good. I definitely don't need a plus sign because it's not in anticipation of something else. Because here I could do the same thing. Well, where were we? And then where did we end up? No, this is purely, we went up by 8,000. That's all I'm telling you right now. You can do whatever you want to with that later. But I'm just giving you this one number. You go have fun with it. Yeah. Cool. So I think the only thing that might really give us trouble in this section, there's two things. There's inserting, oh, it's very specific with that word, inserting, inequality symbols, and there's absolute value. And you could have possibly equal to if they're not really unequal, they're equal. So for example, could you put in here the correct symbol? Which symbol should go in there? Greater than. I like it. 8 is bigger than -9. I love it. And if you have any trouble with this, and don't beat yourself up if you have trouble with this, it's, there's the whole thing about the alligator. I don't know if you ever heard of that. What's 8 bigger than? To me, it makes more sense to you read it as less than if it looks like an L. Right? How do I fill this in? Less than, doesn't that look like an L? That's an L that kind of, but that looks like an L, doesn't it? Hell yes, right? So that's less than because it looks like an L. An L that's kind of leaned over, whatever the hell makes it work, right? What about, let me throw something else in the mix here. Two negatives kind of confuse us sometimes.
Negative 11 is greater than -13.
Okay. So 11 is less than 13, but negative 11 is bigger than negative 13. Right? It's a better place to be if you're talking about money. It's better to be here if you're talking about money. It's better to be here if you're talking about money. In this case, it's better to be here. Oh, less money. So this is bigger. So on a number line, what does less than and bigger mean? Less and greater. What does it mean on a number line? Any number that's less than another one, where will they be relative to each other? If a number is less than something else, the one that's smaller will be to the left. Exactly. So when I do negative 11 and negative 13, that's to the left of this. That's why negative 13 is less than this. This is bigger than this. You guys with me? Okay. It gets a little confusing when they're both negative. And it definitely gets a little more confusing when I start throwing absolute values in there. What is an absolute value? What does it do to a number? Be careful. Absolute value is a command. It's a thing to do. What does it do?
Change it, like from +5 to -5.
Careful.
Determines the placement of that number from 0.
I love it. So it's actually a distance. Guys. Absolute value is always going to, yeah, it's perfect. I haven't heard it put that well in a while. Absolute value tells you, absolute value always comes out what way? Who remembers? No matter what I put in there, absolute value has got to come out positive or 0, put a 0 in there. You with me? It cannot come out negative because absolute value is a distance. And I'm not going to say you're -4 feet away from me. I don't even care if I'm turned the other way. You're not -4 away from me. Where are you? It's weird. So absolute value of 4 is easy because how far away is 4 from 0? 4. But the absolute value -4,
It's 4.
how far away is -4 from 0?
4.
4 steps away. So the absolute value is the most single-minded operation in math that just says, make everything positive. If it's already positive, leave it alone. If it's not positive yet, make it positive, right? That's what the absolute value does. It's very useful. I think the absolute value is something when I need the answer to come out positive, when the negative really just tells me, like, direction. Tell me how fast I'm going. Don't tell me -80 just because I was going the other way. Say 80. How are we doing so far, sir? Yes?
So no matter what, you have to make it a negative positive?
Exactly. The answer for an absolute value has always got to come out positive. Or the only thing that's not positive would be if I put a 0 in there, because we all know, do we know 0 is not positive or negative? 0 is just 0. It always gives us trouble. So last little thing here. Can you tell me what sign to put in here? What inequality symbol? Actually, let me do two things. This one definitely freaks people out. All right, so what symbol goes here and how simplify this for me?
Is that a 1 or what is that?
Oh, that's I was trying to make them bigger. That's an absolute value. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Negative.
Like what is that? -1 minus 141? No. Absolute value.
It's negative 14.
So what's the way to do this is absolute values sort of look like parentheses, just parentheses that are kind of straightened up the rack. So I've got to do in here first. So what's the absolute value of -14? And what's in front of it? What's the absolute value? Negative 14. 14. And what's in front of it? A negative sign. So people say, when I do this problem, somebody would always say, you just told me the absolute value was going to be positive. You dork. They don't say dork, but it did come out positive. Absolute value negative 14 is 14. There just happens to be a negative sign on it. It's out here. Absolute value can't do anything about that. You guys with me? Do not cancel these two. This tells you to do something first, right? Okay. What symbol goes in the middle here? Greater than, because what is the absolute value of negative 11? 11. And now you can see for sure. So when you see a problem like this, do the absolute value first and then just compare the numbers. Don't try to do it all in your head. Right? Just do the problem and then put the inequality symbol in there. Cool. So this was section 2.1 that we just did up here. All right, so don't forget. Next time we have quiz after 1.7, and then we'll keep on going through chapter 2.
So what if it's parentheses instead of the absolute value? So if that negative 14 was parentheses, then would it cancel each other out?
If they were parentheses, then you could. Yeah, because if they were parentheses, there'd be nothing to do here. But that's value, so there is something to do there. You have to do that first. Never. The quiz is up through 1.7. We just started chapter 2, section 2.1. So try to get all of that done. Oh, you did? Good. I don't know yet. I only created a couple things. I don't think it was Jason. No, it wasn't. You're out, right?
Yeah. They didn't know.
We'll see. Yeah, I'll let you know. Okay, related to that.
Yeah. Okay, so that was you. Yeah, I do have.
Okay, you heard about the quiz. Yeah, we did that earlier.
Oh, I did all that.
Oh, you
I was
did?
here the whole class.
Oh, you were, oh,
I was just only like 5 minutes late.
Oh,
I don't think
you
got it. Perfect.
Yeah.
I mean,
Bam, bam.
I did what was that?
Section 1.7 and 1.8, they both have their own problems to do that.
I'll review here.
Because part of it was part of the homework too, so I said try
Every time I try to do that task, I get one.
Oh, hold on that until Thursday. Hopefully everybody will have it done. Bring it back Thursday. Then I'll bring in the interpretation. Oh, it's coming Thursday? Okay. I missed the quiz, which isn't terrible. The test grade will take it. Test will Oh, don't worry about it. I never do makeup quizzes, ever. You can get a copy of it later. Just remind me and I'll give you a copy so you can see what it looks like. But just the grade will be made up by your test grade. Yeah. Yeah, it's not going to be a 0 for you, don't worry.
You want me to take all my homework pieces together?
No. Sure. Sorry.
No, don't even worry about it.
Oh, you're 10 o'clock, right?
Yeah. I just.
Oh, up through 1.7, yeah. That's good. So you're done up through 1.7? Okay. No, we're not to that. We don't want to convert from metric to. Yeah, we finished 1A today.
Good, how are you?
So remember, it would be due like a week later.
Tired.
We turned it in early.
What's that?
I couldn't sleep last night.
Oh.
Either way, if it's done, you can give it to me.
Already?
Oh.
Anybody else, I would wait outside, since I have no respect for the state.
This out of the way.
Yeah.
Trick anybody out?
How's the semester starting for you?
It's going okay so far. Actually, it's going really good. It's just all the extraneous stuff, you know. Everything besides teaching. That's the part that's driving me crazy. Yeah, dude. Especially you're stretched thin, man. Oh yeah. You got a lot of people working with you on that.
Yeah, and then this year, like, a lot more people kind of taking ownership of
Oh, so you kind of saw how it worked last time.
That's right.
It's a little more
So now they're
comfortable.
ready to, yeah. But you know, you have what are we? Oh, this, yeah.
I was doing check before I leave.
You have a
Is that
ton of-
yours?
Yeah.
Okay.
You have a ton of stuff.